Hello and welcome to another AIC Productions video. I'm doing things a little bit differently today as far as recording video and audio on two separate devices, so hopefully I sync it up. Shouldn't be too big of a deal at this point, simply because you won't see me talking, you're just listening to my voice as we go over a few things. So I'm super excited today to be going over my HP Stream Gen 4. It is rockin' an N3450 Celeron processor, which is a quad core, quad thread, so four core, four thread processor. It's basically the same processor as the N3350, but with four cores instead of two. So it has the same graphics processing, it has the same speeds, same instruction set. It is just a 4 core versus a 2 core processor, and it makes a huge difference. Now on your screens here you can see some of the stuff running. I like to just check this to kind of see what all is going on in the background. One thing that is a killer on these systems is the anti-malware service executable. Always seems to take up a huge amount of resources, both memory and CPU. Cortana is also a big one here. I'm going to just go ahead and try to, it's not going to let me end the, yeah. So if you ever are working on one of these slower machines and you just feel that it is just extra slow, a couple of recommendations I have. First of all, go in and check for updates, because a lot of times it will be running an update in the background or trying to check for updates and it can't for whatever reason. And check for updates, make sure you don't have any current updates, and reboot. So that definitely seems to clear things up quickly. And then sometimes you just have to let the anti-malware service executable run through its processes before it gives you back your system. So just something to throw out there on these low-end systems that I've run into quite a bit. So I wanted to, on this video, actually play some games. So in my last video on this laptop where I compared it against the Lenovo IdeaPad 120S, we did a performance benchmark. Now we just want to run through some casual games just to see how it performs. So I'm going to play Minecraft, going to play some Roblox. Now I did have on one of my other videos somebody be quite rude about me playing those two games. The reason why I do, and I probably shouldn't have to explain this, but I'm going to anyways. The reason why I do is, number one, Minecraft is a game that so many people play. So many people play. And I think it's a good baseline for casual gaming. It actually requires quite a bit more resources than you would expect it to based off of the looks. But it's a great casual game. Roblox is by far my number one requested game to play on these systems, bar none. And one of my most popular videos is on an older HP laptop, and at that time I had never heard of Roblox. And every other comment on that video is, can you play Roblox on this laptop? So that's why I cover Roblox, is simply so I don't get those comments, because I'll have already answered them. And then we'll play some Steam games. We'll play some classic Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. I've now added that to my retinue for game playing, simply because it's just such a fun game to play. I think everybody should pick it up at GOG.com. That's where I bought it from, and that is not any kind of advertisement. I'd love to advertise for them, so if any of those guys that watch this video will reach out to me. Alright, let's go ahead and load up some Minecraft. Now, I have been playing some of these games on this system, just get a feel for them, and I have changed some of the graphic settings a little bit to optimize for the system, because obviously we're playing a lower end system. You can't be running everything at ultra high. That just doesn't make sense. So let's go ahead and bring up Minecraft, and we'll go over some of the graphic settings that we've changed and then see how it performs. And again, this does have that eMMC storage, which, while faster than traditional spinning media, is not much faster than like an SD card. It really isn't. I had somebody mention to me one time that it's as fast as SSD storage. It is not. I have gone through and done many benchmarks on many different systems, and a standard 2.5 inch SSD running off a SATA connection is so much faster than eMMC. It's like 5, 6 times faster in the benchmarks. So, anyways, let's go ahead and bring up single player. We already have a new world that we're going to go ahead and load up. Typically, I like to start a new world, but that's actually not a very common thing. You usually play the world you've been playing. So let's go ahead and load up the game. Oh, and I'm underwater. Alright, so whenever you first come in the game, it's loading all the blocks. And we'll give that a chance to load out, and we will talk about some of the settings we have on here. So go to options and video settings. So some of the things we've done is we've dropped render distance down to 9 chunks. We'll drop that down to 8. Graphics is fast. Particles is minimal. Clouds are off. Full screen is off. And VSync is off. So just to give it a better chance of having better frame rates. Alright, so we're sitting at 14 frames a second. So typically, in my experience, is if you stay in somewhere where you're going to be around for a minute, it tends to perform better. But if you're opening up new chunks, then it drops those frame rates, obviously. So it's drawn things, and we're at 35 frames a second, 34 frames. So once we've given it a chance to kind of load stuff in off that slower eMMC drive, which again is faster than a typical spinning media drive, but not nearly as fast as an SSD. And things are looking pretty darn good. That's an interesting feature up there. Now, did I enable cheats on this? I don't think I did. No, I don't. Okay. So we can't fly over there. But now that things have drawn out, it is dropping into the teens periodically, but it's staying between the mid 20s and even has hit 40 frames a second, which obviously you're not going to want to play something competitive with this. But if you just want something thin and light and to play some casual Minecraft on, I love it because we play on a server here at my house. So we have a shared server that I like to play on. And if I'm watching a movie with my kids that, I've seen 600 dozen times, like you do with kids, I think my daughters watch Frozen 2 or 3 times a week. It really is something that captures their imagination. Dropping the render distance to 8 chunks really does make a big difference in performance and frame rate over the 12. If we bump that up back up to 12, it really doesn't perform very well. And I really don't feel much of a difference as far as gameplay in not drawing those chunks. Obviously, it reduces your field of view. I shouldn't say field of view, but how far out you see. But I think it is perfectly acceptable on a system of this caliber. Alright, let's go ahead and we will close out of here and we will open up some Roblox. Now again, the performance distance, or excuse me, the performance difference graphics wise between the 3450 and the 3350 isn't going to be huge. Where you really notice it is just in the general use of the system. Having the extra 2 cores really, you basically have twice as much processor, is what that is. So let's go ahead and open up Jailbreak. The Jailbreak's the one that I've been playing on other systems, so I'm just using it again as a general benchmark. I am not the target audience of Roblox, sorry to say, but since it is a common requested game, we will definitely load it up here. We will be a prisoner again. That's usually what I do. Alright, so we are in the yard. Get everything. This always takes a minute to load in the things from the server. But Roblox is great. Again, I'm not the target audience, but I definitely can appreciate its ability to be played on lower end systems. other than changing the up down look of the camera, inverting the Y axis. I really don't make any changes to the graphical settings on Roblox. So it's still loading things in from the server. Um, Not sure why it's taking so long. Last time I played this, it did not take that long to load that in. But as you can see, it is definitely of a playable frame rate. I don't know why it's not loading my character in. Let me see. Oh, there we go. No, we don't want to be doing that. Okay. Don't need no microtransactions on this game. Alrighty. So that's Roblox. As you can see, I'm just running around. There's other people. It doesn't affect frame rate too much. It did take a moment to load in, but I think that has more to do with the fact that it's Friday night and there's probably a lot of people online playing, and the servers are probably pretty busy. Because I played this, like I said, the other night and did not have any problems getting it to load right up, and gameplay was about the same. Alright, let's go ahead and get out of Roblox here. Alright, close that, and that. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to play some Episode 1 Racer. This is also known as Podracer. This game came out forever ago. I believe it was initially released on the N64, but I only ever owned it for the computer. I actually have an original copy of this, but it's really hard to get it to play on modern systems. And I watched LGR, and they just happened to. And I've actually done videos on this where I actually built an older system just to play this game. But then he featured it on a more recent video and had a thing to buy it through GOG.com. And yeah, as soon as that I saw that, it was totally worth me picking up because I love this game. By far one of the best games I've ever owned. Go ahead and do the first race. Winner takes all. We'll start that race. Now, one thing with this is just a keyboard game, no mouse needed for gameplay, but you use a front or up arrow, and being that it's so small on this computer is kind of annoying. This is one of the reasons why I wish it was a bigger arrow. And of course, this is extremely playable on the system. It's a much older game, and so it doesn't really require a lot. So if you really like some of these older games, and I'm thinking of picking up some older games like Myst. Myst was a huge game of my childhood, and again, I have the original discs for that, but I can't play it on modern systems. But I have found that GOG has Myst available and a few other games that I want to pick up for sure that play on modern systems. So I'm super excited. So if anybody from there is watching, let me know. Anyways, and extremely playable, makes me very happy to race my Podracer. Looks really good on this screen too. I'm recording at 720 with my external capture device. We're running this at native resolution, so hopefully it looks good. I will have to view the video after we're done here. Alright, I'm not going to have you sit through a whole race. We'll go ahead and exit out of this now. This is another one where it's great if you're out and about and you want to play some casual games. Perfect for that. Now, I tried to record Portal 2 and it didn't work, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if it had something to do with Steam or with my capture device. So we're going to go ahead and try Half-Life 2. See if that launches and is playable. So I actually haven't played Half-Life 2 on this system. I was playing Portal 2, and Portal 2 did work quite well. Go ahead and do a new game, start new game. We will see how this plays. Now, of course, this again is an older game, an older title, but it's great because when this game came out, you had to have a pretty beefy system to play the game, and so you know it it's great to be able to play this game on a machine like this. It supports modern resolutions, which is great because it looks good on the screen. Screen's pretty decent. It's not the best, but it's a pretty decent screen for a low end laptop, and it runs really well on this system. So this is just the opening. We'll get to where we can actually have some gameplay here in a minute. And again, this is for you younger viewers. If you have not played Half-Life or Half-Life 2, definitely should be on your bucket list of old games to play. It is a true classic and still very much holds up in today's modern games as far as gameplay and just how enjoyable the game is and the storyline. And other than changing the resolution to native resolution on this, I have not changed any other settings for the graphics. We can look at that here in a minute once we get some actual gameplay going.
Welcome. Welcome to City 17. You have chosen or been chosen to relocate to one of our finest remaining urban centers. I thought so much of City 17 that I elected to establish my administration.
I've probably played through this game easy half a dozen times, completely start to finish. Played it way more than that, obviously, but complete start to finish half a dozen times, pretty easy. So I'm very happy with this game. Love it, and it plays very smoothly, very nicely on this system.
This must be a mistake. I got a standard relocation coupon just like everybody else.
Yeah, looks good. So hopefully you're seeing this. Hopefully it doesn't glitch out like it did when I tried to record it previously with Portal 2. So we'll go ahead and close out of this, and I will talk about some of my thoughts so far with the system. Tried to use it quite a bit, so I can give a good opinion on it as far as usability and gameplay and things like that. As far as usability, definitely the 3450 is a much better processor than the 3350. Again, it's double the processor. This does have 4 gigs of RAM, where the 120S just has 2 gigs of RAM, and does have 64 gigs of storage, whereas the Lenovo just has the 32, which is really important with things like being able to install some games. The Lenovo, you have to have an external SD card, or not external, but you have to put an SD card to save your game library too, which makes them even slower because the SD card isn't as fast as the eMMC. And I run into a lot of problems with that system with Windows updates, especially when there's big updates that need to be done. You really have to fight through those sometimes. So, anyways, that was a quick gaming session on this laptop. It definitely is a very usable, low end, cheap laptop. In the past, like I've mentioned in my previous video, the Steam laptops were never on my radar. This is the first one I've owned. They are always way too low end of hardware and way too expensive. And this one finally hits the right price point to performance for me to fall under my wheelhouse of something I think that's actually worth spending your money on. Definitely comes with a recommend from me. There are a few caveats with that. The touchpad on it is very eh. It's not the best touchpad. You're going to have sacrifices on a sub $250 laptop, and that is definitely one that is lacking. is the touchpad. Most people use an external mouse anyway, so not a big deal. But if you are a touchpad enthusiast, you might want to steer clear of this laptop. The keyboard again is just It's not great. The keyboard on the Lenovo is much better. So if you're doing a lot of typing, I would recommend the Lenovo over this one. But I definitely, if you're doing anything more than that, the HP gets the nod from me. It has more processor, more storage, and more memory. It is almost around, depending on when you buy it and the price at the time and where you buy it from, etc. Anywhere from 50 to $70 more expensive, but I think it's worth that difference in price if you're doing any kind of gaming, media streaming, web browsing, basically anything beyond just responding to emails on it. The HP is a better machine. Uh, Anyways, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section down below. Feel free to also use my Amazon affiliate link. If you're buying anything on Amazon, my affiliate link is in the bottom or in the description down below, and I get a little bit of a kickback from that, and it definitely helps me continue these videos because all the products I review are ones that I have purchased with my money, so they're not influenced by any manufacturer or anything like that. And if I have a product where I just don't like it, I typically don't do a review on it. So if I have a product and I like it, that's when you get a review from me. Anyways, thank you again for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.